Bunny Buns Tarot 8 here. I don't have like a lot of storage on my phone, so I don't know how long this video is gonna be. And honestly, I don't even know exactly why I'm filming this. I just kind of feel called to. And also, I'm like, well, why can't I? And then maybe, not maybe, I know there are other people in the world who are dealing with this exact same situation and just I haven't met them yet. I'm hoping to meet some more people who have dealt with this like exact situation so I don't feel as crazy or some of these situations. Um, and so I'm sure I must have titled this by now. So like, uh, yeah, my most recent past life and my most recent past life and near death, starting with my near death experience, because tied hand in hand. So first off, um, and again, I don't know. I just want to. I know I'm not the only person who's dealing with this, and I don't really get very many views on this channel. And I'm pretty sure the views that I do get on this channel are probably friends of mine who are like, "Girl, we're sick of hearing this." But like, I I feel like I'm living in between two worlds almost, and I'm like, I have no one to talk to about this. And lately, I've been getting so many more messages, and things have been kind of combining a lot. So, which is, I don't know. Like, for example, I've been rewatching like animes and stuff that I really, really liked as when I was a kid and everything. And I've been seeing so much symbolism in like animals, numbers, and these animes and stuff that I'm just like, okay, there's no such thing as a coincidence. And I was watching this episode of like Tenchi Muyo, and in part of it, one of the characters, Ryoko, they mentioned that she was like two of herselves were split and then put back into one, and I feel like that's. And there was another episode where that was kind of happening with another character, like two souls, two past lives, turning in, like combining into one to make a whole self. And I'm like, okay, yeah, feel that, like, feel that, because I've realized a lot of the lessons from my previous life I've definitely learned and incorporated because they're lessons that I needed to learn in this life. I'm hoping and praying that this video is not just going to be all over everywhere, but it probably will be because I feel like I'm like all over everywhere. So difficult not to make a sex worker joke, but I'm not gonna. Okay, anyway. Okay, all over. Okay, so anyway, all right, I'll start with the near death experience because that's at least, yeah. So years ago, I had surgery, and I've had surgery so many times before, and anytime I have had anesthesia, it's just like I always felt like I go to sleep and wake up, and that's it, and then the surgery's done, and that's just like that's it. But this time, that's not what happened, and I thought I was crazy for like years. Um, but when I woke up, my family was there, and they were all kind of acting like really weird. Um, really weren't talking to me very much. Like they were, of course, wanting to make sure I was okay, but not really wanting to make eye contact. There was this weird feeling of stress where I was like, "What is happening like right now?" So I started making like awkward jokes and everything, but there was something wrong. And then years later, I found out that they I had lost weight before that surgery, and they used my old weight, so I had too much anesthesia, I think, and my heart wouldn't start. And my brain didn't lose activity, but it was enough time that they needed to go and talk to my family because I'm sure they're like, "Do you need a grief like to prepare people?" Because my heart was not starting, and it started again, and they didn't want to tell me because they wanted to make sure that like my healing, I wasn't stressed out while in the healing process of the surgery and everything. So rightfully so. And then my sister kind of like let that slip. I don't remember exactly what we were doing. I think we were just like having charcuterie and drinking wine. And then she kind of was like, "Oh yeah, that time you died," or something like that. And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Oh, like we didn't really want to tell you, but." And then she like told me what happened. And instead of like getting like, I don't know, immediately I was like, "Oh my god, like I'm not crazy." Like I mean, crazy, but like, but like everybody's a little crazy. But I was like, "Oh my god, like this." What I saw was what I saw. What I felt was what I felt. So what had happened was I, and this is too much. This is TMI. I very ooh. Should I say this? Should I not? Should I say this? Or should I not? No, I'm not gonna say that part. I had a feeling that I've only felt one time before in like a tiny little glimmer, but in my near death experience, I felt wonderful. I felt the most calm, the most ease, the most peace, the most love, the most just purity, everything. I went, it was to this world of like light and beauty and sweetness and just lightness. Light as in visual light and light as in like how I felt. Saw like the pearly golden gates, beautiful lights. I wasn't allowed to go behind certain gates for obvious reasons. And I don't think this is what these beings looked like. I think this is what I was allowed to see or allowed to remember. But I was surrounded by all these orbs of light who were so happy to see me because I was like in a very like delusional state of like, oh, because we agree to forget. And so I went back up there and we were doing the equivalent of like putting our foreheads together, and they were like reminding me, like they were like, oh, remember this past life in ancient Egypt, like ancient Kemet. Like, do you remember this? Like, oh, do you remember this? I was your dad in this life. Or like, do you remember this? And I was like, oh, hi guys, like I missed you. Like it's been so hard down there. They're like, we know, we've been watching. Like you're doing okay. And we were just talking and everything, and just they were giving me um just help and everything and boosting me up and stuff. And they were like, all right, well, it's time to go back. And I was like, no, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. And they were like, we know it's hard, but you agreed to do this. And I was like, dude, I'm in the trenches. Like, I was like, I don't want to go back. Like, I did not want to come back here. It's like heavy, dense energy, very ego driven energy. And like, they were like, we know it's hard, but like, remember, you signed up for this. Like, you needed this. And I know I needed this because after, like, I had so many hard times in my life where I just felt like nothing, nobody, just empty. And that near death experience made me really open. Like, I had so many issues with like my spirituality and everything. I was like an atheist for a really long time. And then I saw that and it made me like really look at the world differently. And they were like, we know it's hard, but remember, you agreed to do this. Like, go on back. Like, it's not your time yet. And so I went back. Still feeling like I'm in the trenches, but like, that's human life. Um, and so that leads to this part. When I was a kid, I didn't really remember most of my dreams until I was like my early 20s. For the most part, I'm sure I did before that, but I just like didn't really remember much. Um, but when I was a kid, I had all of these memories, like very, very, very detailed memories. And my family, like, of course, were like, that was a dream. You didn't remember that. That wasn't real. Because I would be like, oh, I remember. I would bring up stuff that no kid. I didn't have, like, we weren't allowed to watch TV. We only listened to, like, church music for the most part because, like, the conservative church that we were in and stuff. And there were things I would bring up that made no sense, like, at all. Like, I remembered, like, Westminster Abbey, like, so many things that didn't make any sense. And so they were like, no, you dreamt that. Like, that didn't happen, that didn't happen. And so for most of my life, I was like, oh, these memories, these things are dreams I had when I was a kid that I just, for some reason, remember. Or so I thought. Um, and then flash forward to 2018, and in like the last few weeks I decided to join police academy. Big mistake. Huge. But needed. Like, there's a reason for that. I signed up for it. Like, I signed up for it in this life and before this life. We'll get there. Um, but I got assaulted like the last few weeks of police academy, and I had a dislocated patella, and so I was on crutches, leg immobilizer, on bed rest for months, yada yada. And I remember I was just going through so much because it wasn't even just that. It was like assaulted and injured so badly, and then my work, instead of really helping me, they were just like, "F this chick, like she's the devil now, like she's again." Like it was a mess. It was like an insane mess where I was just like, "What world is this? Like, how in the world am I the bad guy for being assaulted?" Like, I was going through freaking hell. Like, it was so bad. It didn't even make any sense. After, because of my near death experience and all the stuff I've seen and everything, I'm just like, I feel like Earth is a little bit of a level of hell. Like, we have demons here. I'm gonna try to stay focused, but, like, yeah. Along with, like, the good that I've seen, there is a lot of bad. And this stuff's real. Like, I'm not trying to seem like a Bible thumper or anything like that. Like, I even just say I'm spiritual. I study like all religions, mythology, because we're all created by the same source. But that being said, people will let demented things take over them, and it's real. Like, it's real. This is why you need protection. This is why you need prayer. This is why you need salt rituals, prayer, however you deem fit, spiritual baths, cleansing your house, cleansing your body. Like, it's very important. Anyway, I'm trying so hard to stay focused. It's hard. Oh, it's hard when you have a meltdown in the front of your house. Okay. So anyway, so here I am, bed rest, miserable, getting tortured, and I'm sitting here like on my couch, and I'm like, okay, I had to use the restroom, so I'm getting on my crutches, dragging myself up, like crying, and I was just like, God, why? Why am I dealing with this? Like, why me? Like, what is happening? And then just like that, I had my first past life regression. And so it felt like those